Do you wish Michael hadn't made that payment? I do. I expressed my feelings to him, and as a mother, it angers me, doesn't it? Yes, it does, because he appears guilty. You can't talk about Michael Jackson without mentioning his mother, Katherine Jackson. Katherine devotedly raised Michael and his brothers, despite relentless challenges, nurturing their musical ambitions and supporting them throughout their journey. Her strength and perseverance are remarkable. There has been much speculation that Katherine Jackson knew the truth about the abuse allegations against Michael Jackson but chose to remain silent, facing intense public scrutiny and unending rumors that tested her resilience. Finally, at 94 years old, Michael's mother courageously steps forward to confirm these rumors. Watch this video to discover the truth. Before we delve into the specifics, we should consider Katherine's life amid the allegations that surrounded Michael's career. Katherine Esther Jackson was born Caddy B. Screws on May 4, 1930, in Barbour County, Alabama. She was the elder of two daughters of Martha and Prince Albert Screws. At just 2 years old, she overcame a battle with polio, which left her with a permanent limp. When Katherine was 4, her father changed the family name to Screws and renamed her Kathleen Esther. That same year, the family moved to East Chicago, Indiana, where Katherine's aspirations of becoming an actress or country singer began to take shape, despite her quick realization of the lack of black country stars. Life had its difficulties. Her parents divorced when she was still young, and during her time at Washington High School, Katherine found solace in music. In 1947, she met Joseph Jackson, who lived nearby. After obtaining an annulment from his previous marriage, Joseph began courting her, and the couple wed on November 5, 1949, after a year of dating. By January 1950, they were settled into a 2-bedroom home in Gary, Indiana, where they began to build a large family together, bonded by their shared love of music. While Joe aspired to be a boxer, Katherine gave birth to 10 children during the 1950s, including twins, one of whom tragically died shortly after birth. Despite these challenges, Katherine's story is one of resilience and strength, laying the groundwork for the iconic rise of the Jackson family. In the late 1950s, Katherine took on a part-time job as a store clerk at Sears in Gary, balancing her work with the demands of raising her growing family. By 1963, a significant shift occurred in her life. Raised as a Baptist, Katherine embraced the Jehovah's Witness faith, and in 1965, all her children followed suit. Although Joe practiced the faith, he never officially converted, yet Katherine's influence on her family's spirituality was unmistakable. As the family grew, Katherine left her job at Sears to focus on being a full-time mother, keeping her children close. By the early 1960s, her sons began to show musical talent. In 1963, Joe formed the Jackson brothers with their eldest sons, Jackie, Tito, and Jermaine. It was during this time that Katherine noticed something extraordinary in her younger son, Michael. At just 4 years old, he would sing and dance to the radio, captivating her with his raw talent. When she shared this with Joe, he dismissed it, but Katherine never lost faith in Michael. A year later, Joe included Michael and Marlon in the group, but only as percussionists. It wasn't until 1966, when Michael was 7, that Joe finally recognized what Katherine had seen all along: Michael was a star. Prior to that, young Michael had already been performing at school recitals, stealing the spotlight without his father's knowledge. Katherine's quiet determination and eye for talent set the stage for the world to witness the rise of the legendary Jackson family. By the end of 1966, Michael Jackson had already become prominent as the second frontman of the group, following Jermaine. Acting on a school teacher's advice, Joe Jackson renamed the group the Jackson 5 in 1967. After winning several talent shows in Gary, Joe decided to take the group professional. Their big break came when Gordon Keith, a producer at Steeltown Records, discovered and signed them. On November 21, their first single, Big Boy, was released on January 31, 1968, becoming a local hit. As the group began to gain attention, Katherine took on the role of designing their costumes, a responsibility she maintained until they achieved national fame after signing with Motown Records in March 1969. During the Jackson 5's peak from 1970 to 1971, Catherine, along with her daughter, the youngest son of the family, remained out of the spotlight until 1974, when Joe began preparing their younger children, including their eldest daughter, for fame. Michael often spoke fondly of Catherine, his mother, and her unwavering support. She eventually joined the family's management team when the adult members of the Jacksons reunited for the Victory Tour in 1984. Michael honored his mother by dedicating his 1982 album, Thriller, to her, while Janet did the same with her 1989 album, Rhythm Nation 1814, following her decision to take charge of her own career after the success of Control. Michael frequently noted that Catherine appreciated his solo work, expressing her approval of hits like Billie Jean, although she was more reserved about some of his mature content, such as Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. In recognition of her significant influence on her children's musical careers, Essence magazine named Catherine Mother of the Year in 1985. Regarding the controversies surrounding Michael Jackson, the two-part documentary Leaving Neverland, which aired on HBO, tells the stories of Wade Robson and James Safechuck, both of whom accused Jackson of abuse starting when they were around 7 and 10 years old, respectively. Throughout his life, Jackson faced numerous allegations of abuse, leading to police investigations, lawsuits, and intense public scrutiny, with these accusations continuing before and after his death in 2009. This created a complex and controversial timeline of claims spanning over 25 years. In December 1986, James Safechuck met Michael Jackson. In 1987, a 10-year-old boy from California, known as James Jimmy Safechuck, was cast alongside Jackson in a Pepsi commercial. According to Safechuck's account in Leaving Neverland, a close relationship quickly developed between him, his family, and Jackson after the commercial aired, with Jackson's generosity seeming limitless. Safechuck recalls being showered with gifts, including the famous jacket from the Thriller video. As their friendship grew, Jackson invited the Safechuck family on trips and vacations. During one such trip to Hawaii, Safechuck alleges that Jackson first suggested he sleep in his bed. In August 1993, the Los Angeles police began investigating Jackson following allegations that he may have abused 4 minors, including a 13-year-old boy. Although authorities searched Jackson's Neverland Ranch and his Los Angeles home, they found no incriminating evidence. In January of the following year, Vanity Fair published an extensive report on the allegations, referring to the boy as Jamie. The boy's lawyer claimed that Jackson was infatuated with him, and the family alleged that Jackson had argued with Jamie's mother over his wish to share a bed with her son. They claimed Jackson attempted to persuade her to let her son sleep in his bed, arguing that if they were truly a family, she should see him as a brother and trust him, insisting that their bond was unique and meaningful rather than inappropriate. According to the family, from that moment on, Jamie slept in Jackson's bed nearly every night for several months. In September 1993, the family of the 13-year-old boy referred to as Jamie formally accused Michael Jackson of repeatedly abusing their son. Jackson's team quickly countered, alleging that the accusations were part of a scheme to extort $2 million from him. However, in 2004, Court TV revealed that Jackson had settled the lawsuit for a greater amount, while denying any wrongdoing as part of the settlement. By September 1994, prosecutors announced that no criminal charges would be brought against Jackson due to the primary alleged victim's refusal to testify during the investigation. Jackson's team also presented several young boys as witnesses, including 10-year-old Wade Robson, who had first met Jackson after winning a dance contest and later moved with his mother to Los Angeles at Jackson's request in 1993. Robson's mother told CNN that her son had attended sleepovers with Jackson. Wade Robson downplayed concerns by suggesting that the children were simply tired from their time playing in Neverland. He reflected on his feelings during the initial allegations against Michael Jackson, expressing that he was eager to defend and protect him. However, on December 8, at a press conference in Tel Aviv, LaToya, Jackson's estranged sister, publicly asserted that the abuse accusations were true. She revealed her emotional turmoil, admitting that, despite being Michael's sister, she couldn't remain silent about what she termed his crimes against innocent children. LaToya further alleged that their mother, Katherine Jackson, had shown her checks supposedly written by Michael to families of young boys, including one as young as 9 years old, with significant sums paid out. She also reiterated claims from her 1991 autobiography, stating that she and her siblings had suffered abuse from their parents, including inappropriate advances from their father, Joseph. Despite LaToya's allegations, the rest of the Jackson family defended Michael. The Washington Post quoted Katherine as saying LaToya was lying and accused her of trying to capitalize on Michael's challenges. In a follow-up interview with Katie Couric on The Today Show, LaToya revealed that their mother had allegedly shown her checks around 1984, implying they were hush money. However, she acknowledged she couldn't prove the checks were meant for that purpose, nor had she ever personally seen Michael in bed with a boy. Fast forward to 2011, when LaToya published a second autobiography titled Starting Over, in which she retracted her previous accusations against both Michael and their father Joe. She claimed her earlier statements had been coerced by her then-husband, whom she described as abusive. In an interview, she said, "My family and Michael knew that wasn't really me talking. I never believed for a minute that my brother was guilty of anything like that." In February 2003, the documentary Living with Michael Jackson aired in the UK and the US. Reported by journalist Martin Bashir, it included footage of Jackson holding hands with and cradling a young teenager who was later identified as a cancer survivor. Jackson stated they shared a bed, but both he and the boy denied any wrongdoing. Indignantly, Jackson told Bashir, "My greatest inspiration comes from kids, it's all inspired from that level of innocence, that consciousness of purity." After the documentary aired, Jackson released a statement categorically denying any misconduct and expressed his devastation over Bashir's portrayal of him. Despite his denial, Living with Michael Jackson sparked a criminal investigation. Just 2 days later, authorities raided Jackson's renowned Neverland Ranch in Santa Barbara County, California, leading to his arrest on abuse charges. The sheriff's office withheld details regarding the charges and the identity of the alleged victim. Jackson's attorney dismissed the allegations as a big lie. After posting $3 million in bail and surrendering his passport, he was released while awaiting trial, ultimately facing an indictment on 10 criminal counts, including abuse, abduction, false imprisonment, and extortion. On February 28, 2005, Jackson's criminal case went to trial after he was charged in late 2003, followed by additional charges in April. The trial identified the victim as Gavin Arvizo, the young man featured in the Bashir documentary, who became a key witness. Among those testifying in Jackson's defense were actor Macaulay Culkin and Wade Robson. By 2005, Robson had gained prominence as a choreographer and songwriter, known for his collaborations with stars like Britney Spears and NSYNC. They were described as special friends of Jackson, claiming they shared his bed, and both denied any inappropriate conduct. Robson's mother, Joy, remarked, "Unless you know him, it's hard to understand him, he's not the boy next door." At 14, Gavin took the stand, alleging that Jackson had abused him. His brother supported his testimony, claiming that Jackson had given them alcohol and shown them adult films. Gavin's mother, Janet Arvizo, also testified in support of her son. The BBC described her testimony as combative and rambling. Blanca Francia, a former member of Jackson's household staff, testified that she witnessed the singer showering with Wade Robson. Francia's son also came forward, alleging that Jackson had abused him. Years later, Wade Robson admitted to having lied during the 2005 trial. According to a 2014 article in the Daily Beast, prosecutors wanted to include James Safechuck, who had provided a witness statement supporting Jackson in the 1993 lawsuit, as one of Jackson's alleged victims. However, Safechuck opted not to participate in the 2005 trial, leading the prosecution to exclude him as a potential victim. He later confessed to fabricating the statement he provided to prosecutors during the previous investigation. The trial itself took place in a chaotic environment, often overshadowed by Jackson's erratic behavior, including one instance when he arrived late wearing pajamas. Ultimately, he was acquitted of all charges, with some jurors appearing to shift blame onto the alleged victim's mother, Janet Arvizo. One female juror questioned what kind of mother would allow such things to happen. Shortly after the trial concluded, prosecutors charged Janet Arvizo with fraud and perjury related to her testimony, and she accepted a plea agreement the following year. On June 25, 2009, Michael Jackson was found unresponsive at his home in Beverly Hills, California, at the age of 50. Initially, his family suggested that he likely died of cardiac arrest, but the circumstances surrounding his death led to a major investigation. On November 11, 2011, Dr. Conrad Murray was convicted of involuntary manslaughter for administering a fatal dose of the anesthetic propofol to Jackson. Throughout the trial, the New York Times reported that Murray, who was hired as Jackson's personal physician, spent at least 6 nights a week with him and was often asked by the insomniac star for powerful drugs to help him sleep. Between 2013 and 2014, Wade Robson and James Safechuck filed lawsuits. In 2013, the Daily Beast reported that after years of publicly defending Michael Jackson, Robson came forward with shocking allegations that Jackson had abused him for 7 years. By May 2015, Los Angeles County Superior Court Judge Mitchell L. Beckloff dismissed Robson's suit against Jackson's estate, ruling that he had waited too long to file his claim. In December 2017, the same judge dismissed the rest of Robson's case against Jackson's companies, MJJ Productions and MJJ Ventures, determining that these corporations could not be held liable for Jackson's alleged actions. Importantly, these rulings did not address the credibility of Robson's claims. In a parallel case, James Safechuck filed a similar lawsuit against MJJ Productions and MJJ Ventures in 2014, claiming that Jackson abused him hundreds of times between 1988 and 1992. Judge Beckloff, overseeing Safechuck's case, rejected it in June 2017 for the same reasons he had dismissed Robson's suit. On March 3, 2019, the documentary Leaving Neverland began airing on HBO after its debut at Sundance in late January. This 2-part, 4-hour documentary sparked significant controversy. Jackson's estate had already filed a lawsuit against HBO, claiming damages could exceed $100 million. The estate's petition strongly asserted Michael Jackson is innocent, arguing that HBO had violated a non-disparagement agreement made with Jackson in relation to a concert special titled Live in Bucharest.